Yesterday, we jumped into continuing our little fucking journey of our own little autobiography, fantasy idea autobiography. And I've been finally doing something that I've been fighting a little bit, and that's just being truly me when I write. Because I censor myself in my writing. I'm not saying certain things that I want to say because, people nowadays will get butthurt about it, and man. So I've been kind of censoring myself. But I finally, as I was writing this, I was having a hell of a fucking day yesterday. I was so pissed off. So fucking angry about stuff. And simultaneously, my grandma's dying. She's in like an old folks home, but like under hospice care. So I've been kind of going and basically watching her die, And I'm going to get into some of the things that just jumped out at me because of that. But suffice to say, I was super fucking angry because my computer wasn't working very well, and I wrote angry for a while. And I don't know how to feel about it yet. We'll see. But anyway, going to see my grandmother dying, it's been very interesting. The more I'm being acquainted with death, the more I realize how mechanical it really is. It's just like the car is idling, the driver got out, and it's just going to do that until the gas runs out. That's all it's going to be. That, it's not as spiritual as I was led to believe, or it's not as spiritual as it could be. It's kind of pathetic, honestly. Watching someone die, it's pathetic. Not the feelings of the people watching or involved. Those are real, but those are all them, The being that is passing away, it's very pathetic. It's just, that's what we're all going to be doing. And the biggest thing that came to my mind was, as I'm watching her die, just like I watched my grandfather on the other side, my step-grandfather, whatever. I realized, I'm like, man, there's like no point to anything, is what jumps in my head. Because I saw two spectrums. He was a rich, older guy who got everything he wanted. He had suffering in his life, I understand. But like on paper, materialistically, he had all the cars he ever wanted, all his guns, his bow and arrows. He built his own fucking gun range. He enjoyed his own land. Like, he had everything that one would want, in a sense. And the way he died was not any different than my grandmother, who had a very rough, hard life full of turmoil, and it was very difficult and stuff for her. And they died the exact same way, painfully in bed, dying of cancer, body eating itself up because they can't put food in them because something about their stomach, the way it is, they couldn't pump food into that. So they were literally laying there starving to death and, asphyxiating and shit. It's just like, it's horrible. It's just a shitty, long way of going, right? And we could get into like how, are they still there at that point? I don't know. My point is I'm watching them die in this kind of pathetic, sad way. The more and mechanical, the more I'm just like, what the fuck was the point of anything? Is the biggest thing that jumped out to me. What is the point of anything? No matter what you do, no matter who you talk to, no matter what you experience, no matter what you learn, accomplish, right? Do and don't do. You're still there, right? And so for me, there's this huge, right now, this is probably not going to be my whole life, but this is just where I am at the moment. There's this profound, like, what was the point of anything? Like, it's all just feels pointless. Like, why even continue now for myself? Fuck this. Might as well just go. Because there's no point. That's kind of what I've noticed. And it doesn't feel, as I said, I was watching her and him, it doesn't feel spiritual at all. It just feels kind of like, in a weird way, like someone taking a shit, or somebody passing a kidney stone, or somebody fucking throwing up because they're sick or something. Like, it just seems like it's a mechanical thing just happening, and I'm watching the mechanical thing do its thing. It's trying to breathe, but it's like, well, I don't understand why this isn't working, why that's not working. Let's test the muscles. And they have that restless thing where they're moaning and screaming while they're dying. At least she was. And it wasn't really her. It's just sounds happening because the brain's trying to figure shit out, and it's running diagnostics and programs, and it's doing all this shit. And then eventually it's like, well, I don't know, we'll just shut down because it's not working right. We're not getting any food. I can't void stuff. Let's just shut the machine down. And it just feels that way. It feels so mechanical. It doesn't feel spiritual in the fucking slightest. And I was kind of astounded by that. Not in a good way. I was just like, holy fuck, that's it? The thing is, I've always had this idea that not much matters in this world. What you do and what you accomplish. Like, at the end of the day, you're going to die. Maybe people will like it, but you're already dead. Who gives a fuck? If I write this novel and people love it when I'm dead, who gives a fuck? I'm not here anymore, right? But in the back of my mind, I always had this quiet, like, but maybe, hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully things do matter. And I want to be wrong when I think they don't. That was like my hope in this world. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm just being pessimistic or, whatever. And I guess yesterday was kind of an acceptance for me of like, maybe I'm not wrong. Because you got to understand, it's intertwining with my whole looking at society and looking at the shit people do, the games people play, their culture wars, their race wars, their national wars, all their stupid fucking bullshit ideas. What side should you be on? Was Vietnam a good thing or a bad thing? Was, does Black Lives Matter or not? Does this and that, these laws, these rules, like all these fucking man-made things, I'm just listening to it. I'm like, it's all fucking bullshit. I hear all that, and then I have this new thought of like, yeah, and none of it fucking mattered. It only matters to the fuckers living, Someone that goes on a stage and says things that you feel deeply and then they're assassinated, they don't mean shit to them. They're already gone. It only means shit to the fucking stupid people that listen and do whatever with it. I don't know. Depends on what we're talking about. Either government or social change or some shit. And it just, I don't know. They live on only in the material, physical world alongside us in our history books or our literature or whatever. Did they take that with them though? Well, not physically. So I can't, that's why I'm like, there's a little bit of hope. Like, oh, maybe you can take some sort of self-accomplishment along. I don't know. But suffice to say, I can't prove that and never will because I haven't died yet. So I don't know. So that's what I mean. There's a little bit of hope, but for right now, I'm just looking at it as this big pointless endeavor where it means absolutely nothing. No matter what you do, think, feel, enjoy, or not enjoy, it doesn't mean shit. And it's kind of a crazy place to be, and to a super religious person that's very like rigid, that only believes what they're supposed to believe and doesn't want to void away from that, I would be considered an atheist because I don't believe in God the way that they talk about it. I believe in a creator of the universe, but not a God per se. In a limited way that I've ever heard it in religion, is what I mean. I think that's far different. I think that's something in here. I think that's mind ideas. That is concept of living entities of self and archetypes. That's all I think that shit is. That's we. But the creator of the universe, I don't know. I believe that something created it. Something I couldn't name. But on paper, I'd be atheistic in a sense. And that's what all this searching has done. I turned from someone who was quietly, I believed God and the biblical God, and I never went to church, but I just believed it because why the hell not? It was there, why would someone lie to me? And but I didn't go to church, and I didn't really give a fuck about it too much. It was in my life, and I was like, cool, whatever. To someone who was trying to become Catholic to finally find some stability, but then I looked into it all, and I was turned off by everything when it comes to religion, and then here I am now. I was in a limbo for a while, and now here I sit at this crossroad, and not even a crossroads, I passed the fucking crossroads, I went down a damn road, and I'm sitting here going like, nothing matters, A narcissist? No, excuse me, that's not it. It's a pessimist, that's it. A pessimist. which I had a proclivity to be, of course. I'm always slightly pessimistic in life. And so that's nothing new to me. But I just kind of feel like, man, oh man. Here we are, you know? And the only thing I can claim I will need to do now is figure it in me, you know? But that can't be a personal God. I just got to figure something out, you know? I got to figure out how to want to have experiences to feel like it matters. Because right now, it's really difficult to find any point in doing anything. One would call it a depression. I just call it being hit with the fucking facts. Because, I'll tell you, all of mankind has their little ideas, their groups, their things they think matter. The big ones like religion, right? That's a huge one. To give you, when you feel this way, to give you something and say, calm down here, this will make you feel better. Whether it's right or wrong, at least it makes you feel better, right? You got something you got to believe in. That's all that fucking shit is. It's just man-made objects. No different than a painting, no different than a work of art, in literature, or modern day video games and shit. It's all it really is. They just have their different purposes as they're doing it. And I'm in this room where I see it's just all this man-made shit, and I've walked so far from mankind in my mind, and all their bullshit, and all the stupid fucking things you can play along with. And I think to myself, like, we've gone so damn far, man. This is really pointless outside of man's shit. Outside of the things that we do. Society, structure, law, religion, culture, race, history, archaeology, you know, whatever. Like everything that man does, I've set it so far away that I'm just like, and outside of it is nothing. So far. Again, to caveat this entire conversation, I'm not giving up here. I'm not going like, well, that's it, we're done. Time to die, you know. But I've found on the journey now, it's okay. You've walked away from man in a lot of things. You don't give a fuck about their general rules in a sense. At least until repercussions come. I'm not just going to go drive on the sidewalk, kill people, you know. But I just realized it doesn't truly matter. And what the hell does, though? Like, what does matter? Only what you give power to. So far. So as I sees. Only what you give power to. As in, your country. All the way down to how a book affects you. You give power to that. Whatever it is, you read anything, you do something, you get in trouble. Or you decide not to hurt people because it's the wrong thing to do, right? You're letting yourself be determined by your limitations or your rules or your interpretation of what said thing is. You enjoy a certain genre and you've restricted yourself to the understanding of that genre, and you found some sort of place inside of it, and there's rules and what is truly science fiction, but what is not science fiction and shit. All the way up to the borders of a country that you for some reason believe is your country because you live in it. It's your country. So you get to kind of decide, well, what is an American? What does it mean to be patriotic? I don't know. Other things of that ilk. Race is a huge thing right now. So, like, what does it truly mean to be black? What does it truly mean to be white? You know, shit like that. And whose history is better? Who's suffered more? Who's had more suffering in their history? You know, let's argue about that, because that's what fucking sane people do. And so you get to set up your little ideas inside of whatever the fuck it is that you want to hang your hat on. And you can do multiples. I enjoy literature. I am an activist, and I am a Christian American. So you've ganged into 4 little ideas. So it kind of gives you a sense of purpose. And as I'm getting older and I'm going down this lone road, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, isolation in a sense, individuality, true individuality, the more I realize that all those things not only are a man-made concept, but it's limiting. And I see people doing that, and they find their true purpose in it. And they define themselves by these constructs. And I find that to be fucking bizarre. Out the gate. Like, fucking bizarre. I'm I don't know, a Republican. And I joined the Coast Guard. And I fucking am a Protestant Baptist. And they think that is the right, because I'm doing it. There's a million different it's out there, but I'm doing these ones. This is the rightest of the right. That's the best God there is. This is the best country. And my political party knows the exact right thing to do for said country. You know? It's fucking crazy. It really is. It's like a mental illness. I guess on the outside is how it feels to me. It just feels that way, you know? And I don't want to bash anybody for having beliefs or anything, but you must understand, when I talk like this, I'm not talking about you and your life. I'm talking about me. You know what I'd have to give up to join a group of idea? I'd have to give up my soul, it feels like, and just be like, fuck this. I'm going to be a fan of this type of music and this literature, and I'll just join this religion. And I'm that guy. And I find purpose in this. And I help people. I don't know. Crazy shit to me. Because I help people all the time, but not for an idea. I don't help the elderly woman at work has come from Germany, who saw World War II and had to flee from it because she lived near Poland. And her husband recently passed away now. And she's by herself trying to figure out how to be a person, because her husband took care of everything. I'm not helping her because I'm a Christian. And it's the right Christian thing to do. I'm helping her because that's innate. It's innate. It's not something I need to think about. Like, well, my rules say that you got to do this. Society says that. And you should always treat elders this way because that's what religion tells me in society as well. Like, no, I'm not doing it for those fucking man-made things. I'm doing it because it's just, I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm just doing it. Does that make any sense? Probably not, but my point is I don't need rules to tell me how to be a good person. How to treat somebody. How to not kill fucking people, you know? Like some obvious shit. I don't need rules to tell me not to do that. Either by, let's say, God or by man. It's innate. I'm not going to hurt somebody because I don't fucking want to. I'm not going to, hurt them emotionally because I don't want to. I'm not going to watch someone suffer when I have power to help them because I don't want to. I don't know how to, I don't need some guy or some group of guys telling me, well, you've got to do this because of this. I'm doing it because I know what's right. But then that leads into a whole nother fucking question of, well, what does that mean? Remember we talked before? I think it was the last video. Where I was like, I don't know if there's such thing as right and wrong. And I still don't. There's so many acts to explore where I could go even further when I say that. Like, well, you said you're going to help people because you think it's right, but at the same time you don't believe there's a right or wrong? What is that? That sounds conflicting. And I would say, yeah, on paper, of course, because it's on paper. Well, it's duality, you know? It's literally in black and white. Now the problem is, as I say that, if there's no right and wrong, there's no great right and wrong. Unless the right and wrong is within yourself. But you are the greatest thing you could ever know. This is all I know. I know how to be me. I know how to live my life. I know how to be a failure. And I know how to have some success. I know what I need to do, but I'm too afraid to do it. Like, I know me very well. I don't know anything about you. You could tell me, but that doesn't mean I'll know. So when I say I don't believe in right and wrong, I just mean I don't think that there's such thing as an ultimate right and wrong. There's just your personal ones, right? Like the personal God. It's just, that's your right and wrong. Some people think it's right to kill people. because they're justified in such a way. I don't know. Well, that seems to be what war is. Kill innocent fucking villagers in Vietnam. Or what was the motto in Afghanistan and Iraq and all that. Just, I know the numbers go down, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you find ways to justify. Well, I don't know who they are. They could be the enemy. So there is that sense of, well, death can be a right. Freedom, right? Or whatever. But then that leads me into the idea, like, what the fuck is even freedom? I don't know if I really believe that either, because freedom of what? I don't got no freedom if I want it. I have the freedom not to decide and freedom to die. Okay. Great. You know? It's just, I don't know. My point is, it's just very conflicting right now, and I don't have anywhere to necessarily set myself besides beside myself. And that's how I feel right now, is beside myself in wonder. From the small things like man's world, and when I say man, I just mean mankind, all of us, to the larger things like death. I don't know how to necessarily feel about it. I'm very just like, I don't want to say numb, but I don't know. I'm more just confused. So like when I talk about my grandmother, I just kind of see her and I'm just sitting there like kind of, you know, like, huh, that's it? That's it. There you go. There you lived. There you go. Your daughter's grieving over you. That's not your fault. You're dying. That's normal. Your daughter doesn't have many family members left on that side. They're all gone. One's in prison and the other one's in 90-something years old. That's all she has left, my mom. That's it. But that's her grieving. Because their life was hard. They had to run from their stepfather all the time. It was a horrible, horrible time for them. There's a lot of positivity in it, but my point is, it's like a sad story in a book, sitting on a shelf, rotting away in an antique shop because the asshole that owns the book says $80 for the rotting book. It seems like that's what life is. So far, okay? You know, I don't want to get gloomy and like, I want anyone thinking like, here he is. We'll find out in a week if he blew his brains out. I just mean like, you go to an antique store and you go to the section if they have some books and just look at them sitting there. And think of this. Think of all the effort and the time and the care and the passion and the love somebody put into it. Not the purchaser, the writer, the publisher, the whoever was a part of the process. They told some story of their life, of their experiences, of their fantasies, or their some sort of fictional story or something, whatever it is, historical novel. And it's just sitting there. And they put all of that in there. And there it is. Can I prove one to you? I'll show you. I don't know why this stuck out. I have not read it yet, but it stuck out. I was literally in an antique shop and I saw a bunch of books. And I saw this one sitting there, and it's called, it's hard to read because it's gold on yellow. I'll have to read the inside. I can't read that. 25 Years in the West. Maybe someone's heard of it. Maybe not. But it's this man right here. It's his life as a preacher, whatever the Protestants call themselves, father, pastor, I don't know, going over into the West in the 1840s to 70s, in there somewhere, and proselytizing while he talks about everything going on in the West. And obviously, if you're an American, you probably know a little bit about the history of the West and all that shit. We won't need to go into that. But this is just sitting there. I don't know how many copies exist in the world, but it's sitting there. Someone might be enjoying this. Like, what are you talking about, D-Rod? I love that book. You know? But my point is, that's what life feels like to me. It's just, but I live this. Don't you want to know about it? I put so much effort into this. I did the right thing. I was following God through the whole book. And you, whoever you are, see that and go, I don't really like reading books. To me, that's like what life is. My grandmother's dying right now in a room by herself at the moment. In hard facts, Do you really give a fuck? No. It's okay. I'm not mad about that. Whatever. Do I care about your grandma? I don't know her. I don't care. That's an okay feeling, but my point is, then what? What did that mean? Well, her life meant something to the people around you and yourself. But who gives a fuck about me? What's the point? You know? That's kind of the sentiment. Just a decaying book on a bookshelf. That the person, not because they love it, but it's because they want to make a profit off it, wants to sell it. And that selling can sometimes be the idea. Look at this martyr. Look at this prophet. Look at this saint. Look at this man of the people. Look at this great president. I'm selling you someone's fucking life. From something that large to, look at this great author of this great novel. I'm selling you his shit. That's them. This is him. What's his name? I've already forgotten. I can't read cursive. I'm a modern person. Erasmus Manford. What a name. But that's his. We don't give a flying fuck. Well, his prose isn't very good. You know, it's just like, that's where we're at. And I just kind of feel very like fucking A about it. That's, you know, to someone not feeling this right now is, in some ways I feel like, well, lucky you that you can kind of somehow trick yourself into thinking none of that matters. But man, I've walked around this fucking room too much. These ideas, I've walked in and out of concepts, ideas and archetypes and whatever man makes. I walk in and out of those fuckers so much that I found the door, man. And as I'm in and out of it, it's just like, dude, you don't understand like how pointless it really can be if you stop believing all the shit you want to have just keep you fucking here on this physical world. As if it all fucking matters. It matters so much you're willing to kill people for it. You're willing to change people. You're willing to commit genocides or re-educate. That's how much you think this shit really matters. But at the end of the day, you're going to be laying in bed, fucking half naked in front of a bunch of strangers. Tubes go in you if you're lucky. And you're going to die painfully. Just there. But you're going to be like, well, what he did mattered. And will carry on his legacy. Like, oh, fuck off. That's you. Don't put that shit on the dying person. I don't know, man. I feel like I guess I could say lost in all this. I have hope, you know. I'm a very foolish person, so of course I still have hope that I'll find something else that'll help me out of this. But so far, the only thing I think it'll be is just relenting and giving up and walking into a man-made idea, giving me purpose. But there's a part of me that doesn't want to do that because he's just like, then you literally have failed to discover self. So this is what I'm talking about. That road is long and difficult. And just because it's hard, just because you have a moment just like this, doesn't mean you're in the wrong, you need to be re-educated, or you are depressed, or I don't know, like, you know, this is, to someone, this is a very negative conversation in whatever way they want it to be. And they're like, thank God that's not me, right? I find that to be absolute bullshit. But my point is, this is where the road takes you, and it goes very far. I'm not even close to being a quarter of a way on this journey. It's finding the sense of the over-dominating self that witnesses over all the events of mankind, so you may walk in and out of any room you like. You could have an opinion about the Vietnam War. You can have an opinion about politics or religion, but don't be dominated by them. See them as simulations. See them as video games to play. Something that you can just kind of dabble in a little bit, but you don't have to be in it. Just get in the game, play a little bit, and leave. Read literature, kind of zoom in a little bit more, come out. It's about finding the omnipotence of how you can relate to what you consider God, being this omnipotent thing that moves around and is no place but all places. You can be that too. You don't have to be attached to something. You don't have to sit and feel like shit because you have negative thoughts or sinful thoughts, and God's not going to love you because you didn't forgive yourself at the end there and ask for forgiveness of sin and accept Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior. That's not how that works, you know? Hopefully. But like, you can feel it all and go anywhere. Like that John Lennon lyric, you can penetrate anywhere you go. It's true. You can. But there's some sense of the greatest source when you come back. And for me right now, it's finding, how can I accept death in my life in a way that's not just like, what was the point of it? That's my new journey to discover. How do I not look at someone dying and think, what was the point of even living in the first place? You know, that's hard. And that's my own personal struggle that I'm going to have to kind of figure out and do what I need to do with it. None of this that I've just said here to close this entire conversation, none of this is maybe want to give up my own life, or give up searching, or give up trying to find myself. In fact, it makes me all the stronger for it. I'm just a little wearied by this new revelation. I'm a little tired, like, oh crikey, we're going to be in a long one. This road goes farther than I thought. It's like working on your car. You thought it was going to be a simple fix. Then here you are 4 hours later fixing a line you didn't know was rotting out. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh shit, the radiator, you know. That's what it's like. It's just, oh fuck, this is going a lot farther than I thought. And a lot more costly than I realized. Oh shit. That's kind of it right now. That's my daily musings that I can give you. You may have and do whatever you like with. You may use this to make yourself feel better. Like, whew. At least I'm not that guy. Or you can maybe feel something by it. Some people might even want to reach out and try to help me. But the point is, this is just a natural process. I fear not any of this. I loathe none of this. And I accept it. It's okay. It's just, that's the fucking game. That's whatever the fuck this is. The natural process that I'm in. That's it. We're just here. We're in this fucking room right now. So, anyway, I'm going to get going. My grandmother might pass away today. I'm not really sure. She's really close, so I'm just going to be kind of on the ready, just in case. We'll see. But I will talk to you some other time, and we shall see what comes from that. And I'll see you next time.